Hope everybody had a safe weekend and people can enjoy Labor Day. No, we're back at work like you all are, so it's not a day off for us. Very disappointing outcome on Friday night. I don't like preseason ratings. I've said that forever. We weren't the 10th best team in the country the way we played Friday night. And it's funny, Virginia Tech gets credit for being a top 10 team. I don't think we were one. So I still think we should all wait till the college football playoff ratings come out. And then you actually get to see what a team has done based on their merits. Ours is based on the improvement we've made, a great quarterback coming back, a lot of guys back on defense, but we lost so many outstanding players on offense, and we didn't do a good job of replacing those on Friday night. So that's still an area that we've got to continue to improve. And I told the guys and the coaches, it's this game's not fun and not worth playing when you lose. You can learn some hard lessons, and you've got to learn from losing and improve. But for your fans, for your university, for your athletics department, for everybody involved, you need to win. And winning is key. It's key to keep your players' attention. It's key for them to learn. You've got to lose some because we learn to lose in life. And when you do, you've got to overcome that and step back up and not let one loss beat you twice. But winning is very, very important. And I sure don't take that for granted in any way. Offensively, well, I'll start with defensively. We played better. We started poorly. The first quarter, we didn't do well. We missed some tackles. We aligned wrong. Virginia Tech hit us with a few key passes and a little speed sweep. And we thought they would line up and just try to hammer us. And they did a good job early of changing up their play selection. But we adjusted to that and played really, really well from the second quarter to the fourth quarter, holding them to only 93 yards the second half and only 3 points. And this is a team that had rushed for over 250 yards against us with the same players, except the back. 4 of the 5 starters back in the offensive line. They're very good. Quarterback played very well. So really proud of our defense and the way they hung in there and fought, forcing the turnover at the 9-yard line going in when the game could have gotten away. But really proud of our defense and showed signs that we can be really, really good on defense for the first time since we've been here. So that's a huge plus. Special teams, we gained some advantage in punt. We nearly blocked a couple of punts. We still didn't get done what we needed to get done. We didn't block a punt. We didn't get our punt return. People have asked about kickoff returns. Most people now are fair catching them. When you see a kicker like ours that kicks most of the balls out of the past the goal line, so people aren't going to return them anyway. Virginia Tech's guy was about 70% over the goal line. So if 7 out of every 10 of his kicks are going to be too deep to return, we fair caught one. I think the rest of them were over the head. So most people are doing that. You can go back and check the stats. I think last year, the guys that fair caught all of them were about 5th in the country in returns, because the kickers are so good now and they're kicking it so high, and people have such good players. They're covering so fast. It's hard to return them past the 25. So most people have gone to a philosophy of just fair catching, and that's what the rules committee wanted. They wanted safety in kickoff returns, and you got 2 groups that are running 40 yards apart and hitting each other. There were a lot of concussions on kickoff coverage and kickoff return. So fewer people are returning them in that phase. Was proud that Grayson Atkins kicked a pressured field goal that kept us in the game. And I thought Ben Kieran did a really good job with our punt, and our punt mechanics were good, and our coverage was good. They had -1 yard return. We did have the 15-yard penalty with face mask with Obi. Offensively, we're just disappointed. We didn't know what to expect going into the game. You have a great quarterback. You have your offensive line, even though with Brian Anderson out, we're not the same. But you've got the same tight ends, but you're not sure at running back or wide receiver. Josh Downs, as advertised, played great. I was really, really proud of him. And he competed and made plays throughout the game and kept us in the game. Really, we got to get him some help outside. We didn't catch contested balls outside, really on either side. They hit a deep ball with Thompson and Kyler McMichael, and Kyler had him covered, and he caught the ball. With us, we didn't. We had 2 or 3 balls that we didn't catch that we had a chance to catch that were deep, and then Justin Olson had one taken out of his hands. I thought it was after he hit the ground, but it doesn't matter. They didn't even review it. So, but we didn't make the contested catches outside, and we didn't keep them from doing it the same way. Offensively, we had miscommunication in the offensive line. We moved Awesome Richards in, and then he and Q had not worked together as much, so we had some miscommunications issue, and thought Virginia Tech's crowd was a factor. They did a super job of making it hard to hear. It's one of the best environments I've ever seen, so give them credit for that. But we had too many tackles for loss. We had too many bad plays on first down, which put us in 3rd and long. We were 2 out of 10s in 3rd downs. We had the 3 turnovers, and really and truly the 3 interceptions. Only the last one was Sam's issue. The one was a tip ball that we've got to do a better job of keeping the defensive lineman's hands down. Another one was a ball taken out of Justin's arms that was caught by Justin. And then the last one, he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds, but he had pressure when we were going to win the game and couldn't get the ball out of bounds. So thought all of us were frustrated offensively because we've moved the ball so easily through the last 2 years, and it didn't happen on Friday night. Much better second half than first half offensively, but we'd get to the 30, the 20, and stall. We were 1 for 1 in the red zone, where our defense was held Virginia Tech 2 for 4 in the red zone. But we've got to improve offensively. So we've got to find other receivers to step up and help Josh Downs. I did think the running backs did a good job, and the offensive line's got to get more consistent and take pressure off Sam. And I'm sure Sam feels frustrated that he tried to win the game too by himself. And we just got to play. We're not going to be the same offense we've been for the last 2 years, but we've still got to figure out who we are moving forward. Josh Azudu and Jordan Tucker played well. I thought the running backs played well, and Josh Downs played well offensively. Most people played well on defense. We chased the ball. We played a lot of different people. So I was proud of what we saw on defense, a lot more than what we saw on offense. Analytics are interesting. I saw people criticizing Mike Norvell last night for going for 4th and 2 at the -33 and not making it. Analytics gives us a sheet, a grading sheet every Sunday after we have a weekend ball game, and they said we should have gone for the first 4th and 2 after the halftime from the -33, and then another set of downs. We were at the -33, and they should have said we should have gone for a 4th and 2 on our own 33-yard line in the 3rd quarter. Well, when you're not blocking people, analytics aren't there to watch it. So you got to be smart and you got to be careful. We've got to do a better job when we try to pull them off sides on a 4th and 2. We can either let the clock run out, but I didn't want to lose yards. We wasted a timeout right before the half. So we've got to do a better job of getting the offense off the field and getting the punt team on the field so we don't waste a timeout, because we would have had another timeout with some opportunities right before the half. Some people have asked why you hold your timeouts till the end. Number one, I want the clock to be down to the end when we score. I don't want to leave any time on it. Number two, you can run a lot of plays with 3 timeouts with 37 seconds left. And that's when Sam threw the interception. So I'd like to have it where we can spend time and talk about the play when we need to. We knew what play we wanted to run with 50-something seconds left. So that's just a philosophy that we have moving forward. It was interesting that there were 5 turnovers in the game and none led to points. That's unusual. Usually turnovers lead to points. And And we had 3, and they didn't lead to their points, but obviously really cost us. Tamon Fox had a half sack, so he moved ahead of Lawrence Taylor, which is significant for a pass rusher, and I'm really, really proud for him as he moves forward. This weekend with Georgia State, it's about the 20th anniversary of 9/11. The athletics department's got a lot of cool things to honor our first responders. It'll be great to have a full stadium for the first time in a couple of years. And there's absolutely no way we can do enough to recognize first responders for who they are and what they've done. And for a guy my age, I was coaching at Texas when 9/11 hit. I was in a meeting because we had an open date, and somebody came in and said, "Coach, a plane has hit the Twin Towers." And I'm thinking heart attack. I'm thinking something awful. Then they came back and said, "No, Coach, another plane's down in Pennsylvania, and there's a plane that has hit the Pentagon." So President Bush, being the governor of Texas, having the twin daughters that were going to school at Texas, we were panicked. They told us to get all of our players and find them and take them in a basement. Chris Sims was our quarterback. His parents lived in New York, so we were trying to find them. So we were all trying to figure out what happened. And obviously, that is a significant day in all of our lives because it changed how we live. It changed our security. It changed how we travel. And that's something that we will address with the players this week because they need to know that that's such a big part of history. And that part will be honored this weekend. Questions? Georgia State, let me touch that quickly before I answer your questions. Sean Elliott's the head coach at Georgia State. He's a friend of some of our coaches. I know he and Coach Searles and I think Coach Galloway know each other from the Appalachian days. He also was the interim head coach at South Carolina, and he's done a good job at Georgia State. I think this game was scheduled because Coach Fedora knows that Atlanta is a very important place for us to recruit, and we go down there to their home stadium next year in the third ball game. They had a disappointing opener like we did. You never want to play Army in the opener for sure, but they got behind. The Army kept the ball. They didn't get the ball back, and they couldn't catch up. But they've got a veteran defense. The strength of their defense is their defensive line. They've got a good secondary as well. They're a running play action football team. They're pretty much like us, that they have the spread. Cornelius Brown's a big 6'5" quarterback that was very impressive last year. They upset Tennessee a couple of years ago with while Ty Chandler was on the team. I talked to him about that yesterday. They've beaten East Carolina. So we need a full house. We need everybody loud. And we need to get back on track this weekend. Questions?
Thanks, Coach. First question today will come from Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, you said Friday night after the game that it was going to be an uncomfortable couple of days around the program. What was the most uncomfortable thing from the last couple of days since you got back from Blacksburg?
We've had really, really hard discussions, Andrew, with our coaches about everything. And I asked the same questions fans ask. Why didn't we have these few things fixed? Why do we have communication issues? Why do we have sacks? Why do we have penetration on offense? Why aren't we separating more with our receivers and defensive backs on offense? Why didn't we catch uncontested balls on both sides of the ball? Why don't we have more sacks? That's what we talked about. Why don't we have more turnovers? Why didn't we get more punt return yardage? When probably the best thing that could have happened to us would have been to play like we did, have the struggle we did against a really good team on the road and come back and win in overtime. And that's what I thought. We either had to make a decision to go for two when we scored, because I thought we were going to score with the 50 seconds left in the game because we had total momentum. Things were going well. So do you do that, or you go back in overtime because we had momentum in the second half? We had over 200 yards and they had 93. So we'd flip the game completely. But then when you don't do that, you got to make hard decisions, and you can't say, oh, well, we didn't play well. Why? And you got issues and you fix them. And we tried to fix them in the spring. We tried to fix them in the fall. No better way to fix them against a good team on the road. If we had played a poor team at home and blown them out, you probably don't fix things. So shame we lost, but probably the best thing to happen to us. We're not the 10th best team in the country. We got back down to earth. We got a lot of work to do. Our program's still ahead of what it should be. We'll get better because Javari Ritzie played so good, but he'll be better by the 5th game than he is now. And we've got a lot of inexperienced players like Jaquarius Conley playing safety, and we got to have somebody step up at wide receiver. So we got a lot of work to do, and a lot of those things were exposed on Friday night that have to be fixed.
I asked you after the game about the offensive line getting beaten with all those sacks and everything. Now that you've seen the game film and gone over it, what were some of the other factors that led to that number of sacks?
I mean, you can watch it, Andrew, and go over every one of them. Phil, there's a reason you talk to the coordinators, and I'll let him go over all that with you. I don't want to spend all their thunder, take all their time away, but he can go over each one with you. But 3 of them were offensive line. The other 3 were other issues that Phil can cover with you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, CL Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Mac, how do you balance, even within the disappointment, how do you balance making sure that you guys aren't overcompensating for some of those mistakes, like going too far to correct it, as opposed to, as you mentioned, that environment. Virginia Tech had a lot of experience too on their defensive line versus the offensive line issues, things like that.
Yeah, CL, you take 47 years of coaching, and this isn't my first loss. And the most important thing is you improve the things that you didn't do well. You change them, fix them, or improve them. And you don't let one game beat you twice. But you also can't sit around and act like it's okay. It's not okay. And we've got coaches that we're asking to do a very difficult job and do a great job of it. And they're responsible to the university, and they're responsible to the fans like I am. And it's our responsibility to put a good team out there and win. So this is important, and this is serious. And we have a 24-hour rule, and win or lose. If we'd won the game in overtime Friday night, we probably wouldn't be addressing things as hard as we are right now. We should be, because you need to be demanding, and you need to expect excellence from your coaches and your players and yourself. And we didn't have that Friday night in all phases, and we've got to get that fixed.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Greg Barnes, go ahead.
Hey, Mac, you said after the game that you should know more about the running backs and the wide receivers after looking at film. I know you've touched on that a little bit and praised Josh Downs. What did you really learn about the running backs and the other wide receivers?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, Jeremy. We got Longo coming up here in a few minutes, so you're going to ask him the same questions. So I'd rather them answer the offensive and defensive questions. But I learned that DJ Jones is good. I thought he was, and he did a really good job. He is a tough sucker too. When we missed the block off the corner with a corner fire, and he hit him in the shins really low, I was afraid he was hurt real bad. And he's tough. He went right back in the game and did a good job. And I thought Ty Chandler got more comfortable and better as the game went on. The last drive, he had some really good runs. And we've got to run the ball better, Greg, and we've got to get the ball in the running back's hands more. Last year, we did such a great job with the flares and the screens, and we didn't do that as well on Friday night. So we've got to do that. Wide receivers, it was obvious that Josh did a good job. Emory made some good plays. Antoine Green had 3 catches, I think. But to run this offense the way we want to, we've got to hit the deep ball. And we didn't get that. And you got to. I mean, that's who we are. You're going to throw it deep. You're going to spread people out. You're going to give more running room for your running backs and Josh. And right now, people are just going to double team Josh and play man outside. So we've got to have somebody else step up outside.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Ross Martin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Brown. Hopefully this is not too sick. I won't have to ask longer this, but are you concerned about a veteran offensive line having so many issues with communication and passing off different defensive line games and sacks like that? Are there some concerns in the building about how they performed on Friday night?
Yeah, we did not play well in the offensive line. They played great last year at times, and Brian Anderson's our leader. He is the most vocal leader. Josh Azudu's some of a leader, and we really miss Brian. We missed him a bunch, and that's not an excuse. Those are facts. So we need him back. Hewitt only played offensive center one time, and I was the reason we moved Josh to tackle and Awesome Richards to guard a couple of weeks ago. We thought Brian was going to play, and then they hadn't worked together as much, and it was really loud. So we'll probably go back and move Josh back inside and Awesome back outside, at least till Brian gets back, because that was part of the communication issues, I think, and that's my fault.
Why was that move made? Since you brought it up, the Awesome side.
I think our best offensive lineman's Josh Azudu, and I thought he would be a superstar at tackle.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, over to Aaron Beard.
Hey, Mac, I wanted to ask you a big picture question about the ACC's opening week. All three ranked teams lost. I mean, I know those were tough matchups, and then I'm more gimmies. Duke lost, Georgia Tech lost. It was a bumpy opening stretch. Can you take anything out of what that may mean for the conference race? I know you kind of look at things globally in addition to your team, but is it just 1 week, or does that say something being a little bit more unpredictable this year compared to the last couple of years?
Aaron, I wouldn't take anything out of any early game scores. I'd wait till about the 7th game. Opening games are so crazy. I put up about 20 scores that were crazy. 8 of the top 25 got beat. I said preseason rankings mean nothing. If you all got your salaries docked for making mistakes in preseason rankings, you wouldn't eat, because that'd be me. Same thing. You all are ducking today, but I didn't pick them number 10, man. That wasn't me. That my name's on there, but I didn't do it. Man, I knew better than that. But you look at Iowa State beats Northern Iowa 16-10, and they're number 7 or 8 in the country. Oregon beats Fresno really late in the game. You just start looking at scores. Oklahoma hangs on to beat Tulane, and Tulane's a yard short of making a first down with seconds left in the game to go win the game. And Oklahoma's number 2. Opening games are tough. Opening games on the road against a good team are even tougher. Notre Dame, Florida State last night was a great game, not a good game. And Florida State's much improved, and they came back and had a chance to win. And what a story with Mackenzie Milton, the young quarterback that overcame so much to get back on the field. And then he played like a superstar when he was out there. But I think we wait till when that college football playoff rating comes out. We pretty much know who we are. And that you've had enough games that you've proven. Some teams improve, some have early season injuries. That's one thing that I've always felt like that we should expand the playoffs, because Southern Cal a couple of years ago lost a game or two early and then came back and had one of the best teams in the country, but couldn't get in the 4-game playoff at the end. So I think it should be expanded, but I would wait till mid-season before I start making decisions on which conference is good.
Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
Okay, over to Adam Smith.
Hey, Mac, just wondering, you mentioned getting the analytics report. Do you find yourself balling that thing up and throwing it in the trash more often than you do reading it and saying, oh, my goodness, they were right? Like, I mean, you mentioned being on your own 33 a couple of times. Just what are your reactions when you get those? And I guess you obviously see some value in those to have them done.
Yes, the analytics basically say you should be able to make 4th and 2. So if you're 14 points down, go for it and make 2 yards. if you're a good offensive team. Well, when you're not moving the ball, analytics isn't standing there next to me so I can discuss it. And then they don't have to talk to you all after the game. Because I asked them if they'd join me after the game, and they weren't there. But they also wanted us to go for 2 when we scored to make it 14-7, because they felt like that if you miss it, you've still got to score and go for 2 later. And those are just totally opposite of the way all of us have been raised. So you take it, you look at it, you take their side of it. Sometimes it's good. In our first year here, it was good that I would have kicked a field goal on 4th and 4 from the 7, I think, against Duke. We were up by 3. They said, go for it, because a touchdown beats you, and a field goal ties you, or a touchdown beats you, and they're going to try to score anyway. So don't go up by 3. And then we went for it. We made it. And then Javonte fumbles the next play at the 3-yard line. They drive it the length of the field and have a chance to beat us. But I can see their thinking. And the good thing about analytics, it makes you go back and question everything you're doing to see if you should be more aggressive, because analytics is very, very aggressive.
Okay, our last question from Coach Brown will come from JB Ricks.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you taking out the time. I wanted to address you mentioning some of your younger players who kind of gave up after that first half or whatnot, and then they finally got it together in the second half and showed some fight towards the end. What was the conversation like with those younger players? Going through a honeymoon phase of having all this hype, and then it gets real once you finally get on the field and they saw what it was. What is your conversation with them? Based off that game and now getting ready for Georgia State?
Yeah, JB, you must have misunderstood me. I didn't say anybody gave up at all. These kids fought their guts out. And that's the thing that gives us a good chance moving forward. I was so proud that they fought till the last play of the game and had a chance to win. So I thought at some point there was some frustration. And what you do is you sit down and talk to them about, come on, man, it's a long game. Just play. They got good players too. So we're still growing as a program, and I've said it many times. We're probably ahead of we're ahead with our recruiting and with our facilities and with our fan base. We're ahead of where we are as a team, and because we had a great quarterback coming back, everybody thought the offense would just be good. So we've got work to do, but and that's what I told them. Don't just keep working. And I did tell them, get off social media. You all are addicted to it now and you're on it all the time, and this isn't a good week for it. So let me help you before you get on it. It will not be good, because those that are on it are going to be critical. So you don't need that. So go back to work, do your schoolwork, talk to your parents and your family, be around your girlfriends, and let's get ready to play great this next weekend. But but I'm sorry if at any point somebody felt like I said somebody gave up. Nobody on this team or this staff gave up. And the staff's competing hard to get everything back on track. They're working their tail off. They're disappointed. The team feels the same way. So we're back at work. And by Tuesday morning, it'll all be about next Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, JB.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, folks.